welcome back to my channel. Today, as you can tell by the title, we are creating some 3D text effects. Now, this isn't going to be a completely 3D render. This is just going to be making 2D text look 3D, basically. So we're going to be in Photoshop today. I figured we could do something fun. I thought we could do it about NFTs. If any of you are new here, my name is Angela. I am a graphic designer and an illustrator. I create these videos to help all of you build your skills or gain some new skills or learn things that might be a little bit difficult for you and make them easier. So if you guys like Photoshop videos, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If you enjoy learning design and illustration, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's dive in. Alright, here in Photoshop, I changed my settings on my other camera here, so I hope that this view is a bit better for you guys. Let's start with text, because the only way to do it is to test it out. So let's put some text on here. There isn't too much of a requirement here as far as which font you should use, but for this type of effect, I would say I'm going to add a new layer here. I would say to use a very standard sans serif font, only because it's going to give us more than likely the best results. So, I mean, Baskerville is nice. However, let's do a sans serif font instead. Oh, Futura would be good. Helvetica, Futura. Futura's thicker, so I'm going to do Futura or Futura, however you say it. Everyone says it a little bit differently, but Futura is a good one to try first. Increase my font size quite big. I'm even going to go a little bit higher than that. There we go. I dropped my pen. I'm just going to move this. Now, you can also choose this little transform tool. If you tap on it, the word transform appears up here, and then you can transform it. So I'm going to do an unconstrained one, so I will not touch the touch selector. You can always go back into the properties panel and choose different fonts if this one doesn't work for you, but I'm going to stick with this one. Duplicate this one by tapping on the layer and pressing the double pages. And I'm going to do it one more time. Now these letters are going to change, so I'm not going to be too fussy with them right now. It always pulls the artboard like out of line with where you are. There we go. Okay, press done. Now the F doesn't really suit me right now, so what I'm going to do, and I don't suggest doing this all the time, but since we're doing a text effect, I would prefer to do this. Hold down my touch selector after tapping the transform tool, pull it side to side like so. There we go. So there's that one. Even if you do transform it, it does still stay as a text. So you won't be rasterizing or flattening the text at all. It still remains a live text, which is great. All right, let me go into the end down here, and we're gonna do T. There we go. Done. Let's move it. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. Transform tool, second tool on the left toolbar over there. Hold down your touch selector, and I'm just going to do this. There we go. Properties panel, color. I'm just going to pick any color. There we go. What I'm doing is I'm just going to check to see if this is the same thickness. Let's change it back to black. Let's stagger these a bit better. I'm going to make it look like they're kind of stacked on top of each other. Now to select multiple layers, if you don't know how to do this, to select multiple layers in Photoshop on the iPad, select one layer, hold down the touch selector, and then select another layer. And then you have two layers already selected together, and it'll showcase that right over here on the right menu, the condensed layers menu. It'll have a blue section up here, and it'll tell you how many layers you have selected at one time. Move these over. Don't forget to press the X when you are done moving or transforming your multiple layers. The N is quite big, however, I did not transform it like I did the others, so I'm going to do that a little bit here, just so the thicknesses can remain very similar to each other. I want them all to be touching each other. You can have a completely different configuration than I do. Let's say if you want to move the F over here, for instance. now we're going to do a fun text effect. For this text effect, I did mention, or I did showcase this text effect in my previous video last year. I'll link it for you guys if you want to see more of that. Go down to this original layer that we created. This icon over here under the type tool, it is an import option. Tap on it. I'm going to search under Creative Cloud. I have some files in here that I'm going to pull in. Artwork that I have done previously. You can pull whatever image you like. If there's an image that you have created and that you want to use, go ahead and use it. If it's something from the internet, just make sure that it is a PNG or a JPEG, either one, and you're good to go. In order to make this text effect happen, this layer needs to be above whatever text you are going to be using. And then you're going to tap on it, press this icon right over here in the right toolbar. It might be a little bit difficult for you guys to see. This little icon down here, it's like a square with a triangle going down. That one clip masks it to the text, and as you can see, it actually formed itself to the text, which is exactly what we want. Now you can still transform this image as much as you want while it is clip masked by pressing the transform tool over here. I'm going to move it around and transform it, make it a little bit bigger, and you can still move it around as much as you want within the text itself. So whatever is going to be showcase is going to be in that text window. This is one piece. I'm going to create a new layer above the letter F. I'm going to do the same process as I just did. Now, as you guys can probably tell by now that this is all about NFTs increasing in popularity recently, so I figured why not just make a whole piece about it, because I find it very fascinating. Let me know what you guys think down below about NFTs. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you find them to be a waste of time? Do you think they're awesome? Let me know. And then I'm going to do this one more time. There we go. And here's my last one. Now you all are probably wondering, where did you get these from? Well, I illustrated these myself. So now we have this going on. It looks very, very fun, very colorful. Now the background layer, which is the first layer that every program opens to, I'm going to change the color of it. I'm going to make the color this kind of like dark purple color. Choose my lasso tool, which is the third tool over here on the left toolbar. I'm going to choose the square marquee tool here so you can select the whole thing. I'm also going to transform it because this did not go all the way to the edge. Let's see, let's make this a bit darker. There we go. All right, that's a little bit more dramatic, if you will. All right, now to make this look more 3D, because this is just a 2D illustration inside some text. So let's make it a little bit more 3D. And the way to do that, we're going to take each text layer, duplicate it. The clip mask does come off, so I'm going to put that back on. Everything that gets undone can be redone. Just keep that in mind. So if that happens to you, don't freak out. You can just re-clip mask it. It's fine. I'm going to choose that text there, and I'm just going to move it over. And let's see, I think I also want to move it where it's a bit taller as well. Change the color. We don't have to go to the text tool itself. You can just go into the properties panel, go down to color. Let's choose this background color, but instead of it just being the background color, I'm going to make it a lot darker. I really wish this program had swatches. All right, let's do that to all of them. Same process. And then we end up with something that looks like this. Now that we have this, let's go ahead and transform the back of these letters. I'm going to tap on the layer. I'm going to convert it to a smart object. Go into the brush icon over here, the brush tool. You tap on it twice. I'm going to choose a hard round brush just because I want the edges to be sharp. By the way, Photoshop does have a rotate canvas, so let me know down below if you guys like it or if you don't. There is another way to do this rather than just using the brush tool to get this type of look. You can also go into the selection over here, the selection tools, and you can choose the marquee rectangle tool. You can make your selection. You can also distort your selection to make it what you need it to be, so that way you can get the angles that you need. Fill it with color by choosing the paint bucket tool and tapping on it. So that's another way you can do this if you really don't want to use the brush tool, or if you're not really confident on making straight lines, that is another way you can do that. I'm going to do that again for you guys. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle, go into more, I'm going to transform selection, distort from the sub menu, take one corner, bring it up, take this corner, bring it over, paint bucket. Always remember to deselect before you move on to the next thing. So now you kind of get this 3D look, if you will, but we're not done. I'm going to continue to do this to the other letters as well. The reason I'm converting it to a smart object is because I don't want to distort, destroy, or break apart the letters that are in place. In case, for instance, I want to change what I'm doing, I can just take the layer that I am now working on as a smart object and I could just delete it, and then I can take the original layer, which is still a text, it's still live text, create a new smart object on top, then make all my adjustments there. Like if you're not quite sure what direction you want to go in, converting things to smart objects is the way to go, because then you don't have to like recreate everything you just did just to change like one thing. And we end up with it looking just like this, but we are not done. I'm going to go back to this T right here. I'm gonna do a gradient because gradients is what makes like text like really pop. I think we might do like kind of like a little drop shadow type action. There's a few ways to create like shadow and light here. The one thing that I'm going to do is make a selection with marquee rectangle selection tool. You can make a selection anywhere on the screen. Choose the gradient tool, which is hidden under the paint bucket tool. Drag just a linear gradient, tap and drag across, and deselect. Then you can transform it by clicking on the transform tool, rotating it, tapping done. Don't forget to deselect, always deselect, and then just drag it into place. Make sure it matches all the other angles that you have going on. And that gives you a little bit of a quicker, easier way to go about creating a gradient here, especially if you don't want to break up your original image and you want to keep it to where it's still workable. So I'm going to continue doing that. We're going to add some background shadow behind all of this. One of the easiest ways to do that is to just take a big brush, a soft round brush. It's going to be pretty large. You can take the letters themselves and blur them if you wish. I'm going to bring the opacity down quite a bit to about 40, 64 maybe, and create a new layer. Looks like it's popping out of the screen a little bit. And then at the very, very top of the layers panel, I'm going to create a brand new layer. We're going to create some lighting effects. So a nice light yellow. I'm going to keep a very similar brush. I'm just going to bring the size down. You can also tap into this size as well. I'm also going to go into the brush settings here. Instead of normal, I'm going to do screen. I'm just going to create some lighting here and here. Bring the opacity down a little bit to where it looks like there is light strokes on there. Okay, and there you have it. So I hope this all helped you to learn a little bit on how to create some 3D looking text in Photoshop on the iPad. There are different ways to do this. This is just one very simple way to go about creating this. You can definitely explore more ways, and I hope this gave you some inspiration to create your own. I will be posting this on all of my social channels, and there will be another article coming out about this over in my writings. It's always linked down below for you guys, and you're more than welcome to become a member of that or subscribe. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon, creatives.